I don't think I've ever carried a Ping driver 325 in the air. Like, that's stupid. Man, that's gross. That is disgusting. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 2023 driver bracket. Today, I have the Cobra Aerojet up against the Ping G430. It's gonna be a close matchup. Let's go. So for this head-to-head, we have the Cobra Aerojet LS versus the Ping G430 Max. The Aerojet, this is their low spin head, but the Ping is their most forgiving head. So you're probably wondering why I'm putting a low spin head versus Ping's most forgiving head. Well, when I dialed in all of the Ping heads, the lowest spinning head for me was the Ping G430 Max. And it wasn't just me that had those results with the Ping G430 Max. All of the pros here at Modern Golf in this fitting facility hit that and had similar results to me, making the Max the low spinning head out of the three to choose from. So if you're new to the driver bracket, the way this works is I'm gonna get 15 drives of both driver. We're gonna take the total distance, subtract the average yards offline, which will leave us with a new number, and that's how we pick the winner. To get all of this data, I'm using a TrackMan, a Pro V1 RCT ball. We're in Calgary, Alberta, where the elevation is 3,428 feet. Let's find out which one of these drivers is gonna win. The shaft I'm using in the Cobra Aerojet is the Hazardous Black Gen 4. The other extra stiff option is the MCA Cali White. They also have an MCA Cali Blue, which is their mid-launch and low spin. This Cobra head is 9 degrees, and I have it set to their standard loft setup. Okay, let's get hitting. Woo! 176 ball speed out of the gate. Let's go. So this Aerojet is a relative of the 2022 driver of the year, which was the Cobra LTDX LS. Fell in love with that driver. So far, this Aerojet does feel improved from last year, so we'll have to see if this can go far. Man, that's gross. That is disgusting. Little miss hit. Oh, a miss hit 340? So what's pretty cool about Cobra is they just released a Palm Tree Crew head. PTC is the Puma and Cobra collab with Kygo and Ricky Fowler. So if this blue and white and carbon head doesn't excite you, the PTC head is full of floral patterns. It looks super sick, very unique. Like, that felt maybe a little bit late. Still carrying 318, 345 total, and my spin is way down. Like, this is definitely one of the lowest spinning heads of the year, I think. So in my initial review of the new Aerojet lineup, I was saying that the aerodynamics of the head, I can feel it just swinging, not even hitting the ball. Like, I can hear it cut through the air, and people didn't believe me. So if any of you have hit this driver, I'm curious what you think of how it sounds and how it feels. There we go. Whew. So something new for the Aerojet that they changed from last year's LTDX is the face. Last year, there was a milled face on the LTDX LS and even in prior generations. Now they still have the hot face, but it is a flat titanium. So that's different from last year. Oh, it's annoying that's going to the right. But if that's my miss, like, how deep is that miss? So a lot has actually changed in this year's Aerojet versus last year's LTDX LS. The first big thing is a visual. So when I look at it from address, last year, the LTDX was matte black and it had some ridges, kind of similar to the Ping's turbulators. This year, the Cobra is all carbon on top and it's actually glossy. Personally, I actually prefer looking at this Aerojet than I did last year's LTDX. That's a good way to finish. Large, son. Large, son. Okay, so before I get into the data on the Cobra, I'm gonna get right into the Ping, and at the end, I'll compare the two so we can find out which one of these drivers is moving up. All right, guys, on to the G430 Max. So the Ping has the classic turbulators on top. They look slightly different from last year. I think last year it was more noticeable just right behind the face, where now there's kind of two little arches near the back. For me personally, I don't love looking down at these turbulators. I prefer the old Ping drivers. Like, the Ping G10 was one of my favorites, and it was like just such a clean top. So the stock shaft option that I'm using is the Ping Tour 2.0. Ping makes their own shafts and they are quite proud of their shafts. In my previous tests of Pings, there hasn't been one shaft that I absolutely fell in love with. Hopefully this new Tour 2.0 is better than the previous Ping shafts I've tested. The other Ping stock shafts for this 430 head is the Tour 2.0 Chrome, which is their mid-launch. They also have an Alta CB Black, which is their mid to high launch. They're also offering the Hazardous Red, which is another high to mid shaft, as well as the Cali White, which is another low to mid shaft. So I'm still warm, so I'm gonna get right into my session. still hot. So talking to not only the Ping reps, but also the fitters at Modern Golf, where they sell a ton of golf clubs, way more people are getting fit into the Ping G430 Max than the LST. So even if you are someone that has a fast club head speed and you like to shot shape, the Max still might be a better driver for you. Setup wise, I have this in a 9-degree head, exact same as the Cobra, and on the standard loft, exact same as Cobra. The only difference is the G430 Max has a weight system at the back that can favor a draw or fade bias. Typically my misses are to the right, so I put it on the draw bias. The Cobra has weights on both the face and the heavy weight is in the heel. So technically it's favoring a draw. So I would say the G430 Max is just slightly more draw bias than the Cobra. That one there is probably my straightest drive that I've hit, only 5 yards offline. 310 carry, 330 total. If I do that 10 more times, this driver will probably win. So let's talk about the differences between the two drivers. Visually, they're obviously already different. I told you about that when talking about the crown of the Cobra. Turbulators and matte black versus smooth but shiny. Sound-wise, so far, I actually prefer the sound of the Cobra. The Cobra just sound is so solid up and down the face. The Ping, I find, has good feedback, that I've had some a little bit heely, and then I've had the ones on the center of the club face. Those center hits sound amazing. But as I vary up and down the club face, I notice a big difference in the sound. So the Ping G430 is coming in at $550 US or $810 Canadian. I was saying earlier that I haven't loved Ping shafts, and I would say so far that this Ping Tour 2.0 shaft is probably the best shaft I've ever hit from the Ping lineup. So I'm glad that they are making improvements to their shaft line. And it looks awesome, like a matte and shiny black. That's just every color combo that I love in golf. There's a leaky one. That's what I get for playing around with my swing. Well, the more you fuck around, the more you find out.
The more you fuck around, the more you're gonna find out.
I feel like I've been swinging as fast as the Cobra, definitely 121 club head speed. I think the majority of the ball speed has been lower, and it doesn't have that same pop that the Cobra has. I've had some that I know are right on the screws, and I find just feel-wise, it's just hairs behind the Cobra. So like in the last 10 years of me hitting Ping drivers, for whatever reason, I just haven't gotten along with all of them. And some of the best players that I play with hit Ping, and they hit it a mile. I do really want to get along with it, and this might be the year that I come around on Ping. 325 carry with the Ping? How are ya? I don't think I've ever carried a Ping driver 325 in the air. Like, that's stupid. Okay, that was a good session with both drivers. Let's pick a winner. NetCoins is a regulated North American crypto trading platform. With over 35 coins to choose from and no funding fees, getting started is easy. Join with my referral code NEWNINE and get $25 cash reward when you trade $100 worth of crypto. Sign up today on netcoins.com/US or netcoins.com/CA. So since I already have the Ping data up, why don't we go through that? Is it data or data? Someone called me out last time. It was like, oh, it's data, it's data. We all know what it is. Same shit. Okay, this is all my averages. Look at that dispersion. Some right, some left, typical to all of my driver bracket. I'm not a professional, I'm just a scratch golfer. It's the middle of the off season, so I haven't been golfing a ton, but the swing does feel pretty good. So these are my averages. With the Ping, I was averaging 119 club head speed, 175 ball speed. Spin rate was 2,800, so I got a couple spinny ones in there. Average 310 carry, average 330 total. That's pretty darn good, okay? Let's look at my dispersion. So I had a good mix of dispersion. So I'm looking at this line right down the middle. That would be a perfect drive. So I had 1, 2 kind of right near the line, 3, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So about half my drives were just left of the line, but then the other half of my drives were way right of the line. I would say distance-wise, it is pretty consistent, but as far as my dispersion goes, it definitely wasn't the tightest session that I ever had. Okay, let's find my best drive. I think it was this last one, 345. So 325 carry, 345 total, just off of the line. If I can hit that every single time, I'm 100% picking the Ping, but we have to take the averages into consideration. Let's find my worst drive. I told you guys it's a super forgiving driver. So it looks like this one, 319, where did that go? Big slinging hook. So that was obviously a big miss hit. And I think I had one very similar like that with the Cobra. So hopefully those two kind of even each other out. Let's take a look at the Cobra data. So again, here's gonna be my averages at the bottom. You can see shot tracer wise, it looks like almost the exact same session, right? Maybe the Ping I was hitting just slightly higher, but I still had a couple big misses to the left, a couple flares out to the right, and then some hopefully getting close to the middle. I was averaging 120 club head speed compared to the Ping was 119, so just under 1 mile an hour faster with the Cobra. 177 ball speed, Ping was 175, so super close. Carry 315, where the Ping was 310, total 347. That's gross. So it looks like on average I was hitting the Cobra further, but remember that dispersion still comes into play. Let's look at my dispersion. So it looks like I had more closer to the center line with kind of 3 to the left of the line, 4 to the right. So again, 50% of mine are closer to the line, I would say, compared to the Ping. But I still had some big misses left, some big misses right, but the majority of the shot that I'm favoring is kind of to the right side. So the Ping does actually have super tight dispersion, looking at these two side by side. So we'll have to see if the distance is outperforming the accuracy in this head to head. Let's try to find my best with the Cobra. Like, look at all these ones that I had over 350. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 8 drives over 350 yards with the Cobra. With the Ping, did I have any hit 350? Not one of my drives hit 350. So why is the Cobra going further than the Ping? There's a couple things. The biggest difference that I'm looking at is spin. So I told you I dialed down these Ping drivers and the Max was the lowest spinning head for me, and not only me, some of you subscribers and a lot of golfers that I play with and fitting professionals. So spin, the Cobra Aerojet is one of the lowest spinning heads out there. I was averaging 2200 RPM spin, which is super ideal for me. Ping was 2,800, so 600 difference RPM. So I find even just looking at the trajectory, the launch angle 11.9, Cobra 11.1, so a little bit lower, but even just looking at the shot tracers, it looks like the Ping had a lot higher drives. So it's landing softer where the Cobra is rolling out. So that's why I think the Cobra is going further. Okay, to pick the winner, we gotta do some math. So give us a little math breakdown and then I'll tell you which one of these drivers is moving on. All right, don't forget at the end, I'm gonna tell you our semi-final matchups in finding the best driver of 2023. Okay, so we did the math and this is what the conclusion is. Let's start with the Ping. The Ping was averaging 333 yards total. The average yards offline was 26.63. When I subtract that from the total yardage, it gives us 306.37. Now the Cobra, the Aerojet LS, was averaging 347.10 total yards. Average yards offline was 29.08 yards, leaving us with a total of 318 yards.02. Therefore, the winner in this bracket and moving on to the semifinals is the Cobra Aerojet LS. We're gonna mix it up a little this year, so the semifinals is actually the finals from last year. So I'm putting the Cobra Aerojet LS up against the TaylorMade Stealth 2 Plus. That means the other semifinal is the Titleist TSR3 versus our sleeper pick in the Tour Edge Exotic C723. And if you haven't seen that head-to-head, make sure you watch some of our other driver brackets so you can get an idea of how each driver has made it all the way to the semis. Thanks guys, checking with you next time.